Well, it's Tuesday, and you all know what that means. Well, as you may have saw on the title, Ring of Honor special TV special Tuesday episode. Well, as you know, this coming Friday is of course the Supercard of Honor, so there will be some interesting matches. This one features, of course, a proving ground match and an interesting 10-man tag team match, which is going to be a lot of fun to enjoy. And then we move on with NXT. As you know, we see the in-ring debut of Naraku, formerly known as Evil, and of course, we have very interesting matches taking place. For example, of course, um, Tatum Paxley teams up with Lizzie Rain to take on Zarya and Nikita Lyons. Of course, Jackson Drake takes on Noam Dar and a few other things, which is going to be a lot of interesting to get around. And of course, we wrap up our episode as usual with some news updates to give you guys updates on what's been happening in the world of wrestling, such as what events the promotions are thrown out, who's booked, what matches are set, including developments that are happening in the world of wrestling as we speak. So, let's get ready for another episode of the Leaded Wrestle Zone.
Are you ready? Get up, get up! 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 Get up, get up!
Hey everyone, welcome to the Leaded Wrestle Zone, all things that is pro wrestling with AEW, NXT, New Japan Pro Wrestling, TNA, the National Wrestling Alliance, various promotions, wrestlers, matches, and championships. I am your host, J-Rod here. So, if you are new to the channel, welcome. This is a channel we do a lot of pro wrestling reviews from various promotions, not only here in the United States, but also in Japan, Mexico, Canada, Europe, the UK, anywhere wrestling is not as big, but it continues to grow. We also, of course, do discussion videos, talk about various topics such as the wrestlers themselves, the promotions, factions, storylines, whatever we want to talk about. We also, of course, do more news updates. If certain information is unable to be on this episode, we can either put it on the next one or on a separate video by itself. We also go to do some real-time news updates to keep you guys on alert if something has happened in the world of wrestling that needs to be addressed ASAP. We also, of course, got the Unagi Sayaka Watch and various other cool wrestling content as well. So if you like what you see, please subscribe to us. So click on that subscribe button. You'll be getting a lot of daily reviews and other cool wrestling content as well. But if you like this episode, please give us a like on the like button or nice comment in the description down below. Now, enough with the jibber jabbers. Let's get started. So, let's begin with Ring of Honor. Okay, Ring of Honor, the TV special Tuesday. Well, yeah, so anyway, as I mentioned, we have Supercard of Honor this coming Friday, so it's going to be a lot of fun. But however, we opened up with a bit of a video promo from Busta and the Brain, Alec Price, and Jordan Oliver, as you know, making a statement about what their intentions are, which is world domination, which we've been seeing so far, picking up some impressive wins. Now, they of course ended up in a match against the Spanish Announce Project. I have to say, it was a pretty good match. They have been proven. Many people have predicted that they could be the next challengers for the ROH World Tag Team belts, but that's yet to be seen. But of course, we did see an amazing win from them when they pinned Serpentico by Oliver, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, it was over. However, while the celebration was happening, it was cut short with the arrival of Lethal Twist. Yeah, Jay Lethal, Blake Christian, and Lee Johnson. Apparently, they're sending a direct message to Bandito. As you know, Blake Christian has been hell bent on getting a shot of the ROH World Title, which is something that he's been getting, feeling that Bandito has been ducking him for, and he's saying that he is going to become the next world champion because he feels that the entire company is now lie on his shoulders instead of Bandito. Like, Bandito, you're done. It's my shot now. Now, our next match, well, Lance Archer, well, we all know him. He brings his victims down to the ring. He brought a guy named Trip Jordy, and I don't need to tell you how this one ended, but you probably can guess. He just obliterated him completely. He did not use the blackout, which was interesting. He used like a black hole slam, I believe, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, it was done. Now, ahead of of course, of the upcoming Supercard of Honor, Diamante has a very interesting message for Deonna Purrazzo. So basically, as you know, she is going to be challenging for the ROH Women's Pure Championship at Supercard of Honor. So, as you know, she is bringing her A game into this, so we'll see how she plays it out. However, her opponent, of course, Deonna Purrazzo, put herself in a proving ground match for the title against someone named Haven Harris. Now, obviously, this match ended with Deonna Purrazzo applying the Fujiwara armbar. I'm sure we can believe that Deonna is not going to lose this match, since we know she is very capable of what she's doing. Now, our next match, we have Evil Uno taking on Von Vertigo. Don't know who he is, but obviously with this match, we all could assume that this match ended with, of course, Evil Uno picking up the win, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, done. Next up, we have Satnam Singh in a handicap match. Two guys, Nick Ruiz and Dave Dutra. Well, I don't need to tell you how this one is, but I can tell you exactly. Well, he is probably getting better at having handicap matches. So he took both these guys out with double choke slams. 1, 2, 3, done. Now, our main event is a 10-man tag team match. We have Lethal Twist, Jay Lethal, Blake Christian, Lee Johnson. They team up with Kip Sabian and Nick Wayne. They take on El Phantasmo, AR Fox, Michael Oku, Mascara Doran, and Mystico. So basically, it was going to be an impressive high-flying maneuver and all that. But however, this match ended when, of course, Blake Christian once again applied the 21 plex onto Michael Oku, and Nick Wayne was the one who picked up the win. So basically, Nick Wayne, as you know, has his own journey to go to. It was, of course, many of you know he's going to be participating once again in the best of the Super Juniors. But as for Blake Christian, well, he just sent a direct message to Bandito. So we'll see how that plays out too. So I think that's pretty much it for Ring of Honor. Let's move on with our last review, NXT. NXT. So a lot has taken place. So we did open up with an amazing tag team, Tatum Paxley and Lizzie Rain teaming up. They take on, of course, Nikita Lyons and Zarya. Now, as you all know, recently, last week, Tatum Paxley was doing a promo, but of course, Lizzie, Nikita, and Zarya, as you all know, they're aiming for the same thing, which is the NXT Women's North American title. So Mr. Stone set up this match to begin with. Now, of course, we weren't sure exactly where it was going to go. I would have assumed that someone was going to pick up the win and get a shot of the NXT Women's North American title. But, however, at some point, I have to say that Lizzie and Tatum really got along great. A really good tag team. But the one thing that was insane was Zarya walking out on Nikita Lyons. But, of course, she should have known this was going to happen. This is something that Zarya did not want. So, but Nikita Lyons was taken out by Lizzie Rain with the Thunderstruck, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, it was done. It was a pretty good match. However, later on, we did see Tatum Paxley, thanking Lizzie for being a good tag team, but she said that she earned her opportunity, so she's giving her a chance for a shot of the NXT Women's North American title. However, of course, Lizzie couldn't believe it because she didn't think she was worthy, but Tatum said she was worthy enough. So, let's see what happens. Now, Ren Sinclair and Kendall Gray were in the back, of course. As you know, Kendall Gray is making her statement against Kelani Jordan. But Ren Sinclair is a bit worried about her friendship with Kendall Gray due to she does not want to repeat a Soul Rook and Zarya situation. Like, she feels, look, as much as I want to be by you in your corner, I'm more worried I could cause a problem. But Kendo believes, look, if it wasn't for you, I wouldn't got here in the first place. So, in that. And of course, Lola Vice showed up, obviously because Lola Vice is not an idiot. She knows perfectly well that Kendall Gray would be aiming for her title, obviously. So, that's something we could definitely agree upon. Now, our next match, we have, of course, Lince Dorada taking on Naraku, formerly known as Evil. Now, obviously, this is Naraku's debut match, and that's exactly what we expected coming from him. And he was definitely going to make an impression, and he did that by applying, of course, the Enter the Abyss, which is the Everything is Evil move that he normally did back in Japan. And he just made a statement loud and clear. And not to mention, as you all know, he is also aiming for the NXT Championship, because we know their sharks are in the water hunting the champion one way or the other. Now, Sean Legacy, EK Prosper, and Tatum Wild, as you know, well, they're ready for their six-man tag match against Birthright. But however, they were visited by someone they know, Dorian Van Dux, and not to mention Legacy remembered him from many years ago. So let's see how things roll out from them. Now, we can jump into that match. Birthright, Uriah Connor, Stax, and Charlie Dempsey taking on Tate Wild, EK Prosper, and Sean Legacy. Now, things were going well from the very beginning. Not to mention, I'm sure that they had to keep an eye out for Lexis King and Ariana Grace for getting involved. But however, Tate Wild, let's just say he got a little too carried away. He did not even tag in EK and Legacy when they were supposed to be tagged in, and he just completely just went out of his way. But however, it was Uriah Connor that picked up the win onto him, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, it was done. I don't know what Tate Wild was thinking, and I'm sure Shawn Legacy is like, what the hell was wrong with him? Like, I'm sure they thought the same. Both EK and Legacy thought the same thing. Now, the calling, as you know, had a video promo talking about what their plans are. Of course, we all know that Izzy Dame is aiming for the NXT Championship. However, of course, Izzy asked Nico Vance that she knows perfectly well that Lola Vice was going to watch the main event. So she said she has plans for that. So we'll see where it goes from there. Now, Mr. Stone, of course, was in the ring with an NXT contract, introducing Mason Rook, who, as you all know, is the guy who attacked Tony D'Angelo not once but twice. So, of course, he's making a statement about his intentions now in NXT. However, of course, Tony D'Angelo is like, look, I get it. You want to make a statement. I get that part. Look, attacking me once, basically you're just trying to make a name for yourself. But attacking twice, that's now good right there. But however, once again, like I said, the sharks are in the water. Tony D'Angelo was ambushed from behind by Cam Hendricks. And of course, security tried to separate them, but they were all wiped out by Mason Rook, who is making a statement of, like saying, I'm not going to be denied. That sort of thing. Now, Noam Dar is preparing his match against Jackson Drake. Romero Moreno, in fact, is talking about his best matches he ever done in the past. But of course, Noam Dar feels that that's the past, But yeah, of course. But he has made a name for himself during that time. Now, we did see, of course, Miles Bourne talk to Tavion Heights about certain things. Seems Tavion Heights was not happy that he's teaming up with Tony D'Angelo, because they will be dealing with I forgot who they were in the tag match next against Cam Hendricks, and of course I forgot who else. Oh yeah, and Mason Rook. So basically that kind of sets it up right there. I mean, Miles Bourne said, look, this was not my call, so he had no choice but to get in. Now, Dark State, as you know, made a statement about their aim for the NXT tag team belts, and that's something they have been aiming for since losing them. But however, of course, we did see earlier Jackson Drake taking on Noam Dar. Now, of course, Noam Dar, on the other hand, as you know, let's just say things didn't go according to plan. Now, he was well aware Ricky Smokes and Brad Baylor were going to be there, but he had no plan for, of course, Lockwood, who got involved. And because of that, Jackson Drake took him out. 1, 2, 3, it was done. However, of course, the Vanity Project had to deal with Dark State because, of course, Dark State, they are in fact they're feeling like they're the ones at the top of the world at the moment. But Dark State is not going to let that happen. But however, Dark State did state that we did not have a consensual rematch. But however, a twist came about. Instead of Osiris Griffin and James Cutler challenging for these titles, well, they just named, of course, Lennox and Sugar as their opponents. And that kind of sets it up right there. So basically, it's going to happen. So they decided, you two had your issues right now. This needs to be dealt with. So that sets it up right there, too. Now, Mr. Stone was in the back, giving, of course, Naraku the welcome to NXT thing. But, of course, Naraku, well, being evil that he is, well, let's just say he's enjoying himself. And then, of course, he sees Hendricks and Mason Rourke. Well, let's just say they're not happy they have to team up, but it's Stone's word. Of course, Tate Wild once again showed up, and he's about the opportunity and all that. I'm surprised that Mr. Stone didn't even question him what happened in the ring, because we saw what happened. He was being too cocky, too arrogant. We don't know, but we'll see. Now, Callie Armstrong, of course, had an interview, but was interrupted by Kendall Gray. As you know, that their little long time past has been, very impressive to go on, but we'll see. Now, speaking of Kendall Gray, she had to deal with Kalani Jordan. I have to say the match would have been won by Kendall Gray, but however, Lola Vice and Izzy Dame just showed up brawling, and Wentz and Carrot got caught once again in the crossfires. This allowed for this distraction for Kalani Jordan to take the advantage and then apply the one-of-a-kind leg moonsault. And just like that, 1, 2, 3 is over. However, Lola Vice was concerned for Red Sinclair's well-being, but Kendall Gray was not happy how things turned out. So you probably can guess that this turned out to be an all-brawl between them. So just like that, it was completely over. So we'll see what happens next week. Okay, so welcome to our news updates. So it's going to be a bit of a short one, of course, here. We only have one update on upcoming events. As you know, we had the GCW Tournament of Survival 11 that will happen on June 6th in Atlantic City. They just announced their seventh participant, Dr. Redacted. However, this will be his second time participating in this tournament. Now, on to developments. Now, as you all know, Stephen Borden Jr., who is the son of the Icon Sting, well, it turns out Stephen isn't the only son, of course, of the Stinger himself. If you guys remember Garrett, he was the one dressed up as Surfer Sting back at the last match of his father. And it just revealed that Garrett will be, of course, making his pro wrestling debut this Sunday, of course, at the Rhodes Wrestling Academy Final Reckoning. So I'm going to presume that he might have been, of course, training under, of course, Dustin Rhodes, which is no problem. We know that Steven has been training with Darby Allin and other places. So obviously that was the case. So I'm kind of curious about what Garrett can do. I mean, we know that Steven has a natural ability. I mean, when he does the Stinger Splash, obviously he does it with high intensity, we would expect. But I'm curious exactly what Garrett could do. I mean, we know that both sons had no interest, but it seems that because of this, they got their interest now. So I'm kind of curious. Now, Updates on the New Day. As you all know, the sho- uh, the shocking thing was the New Day was released from WWE. Now, some people are saying would they be signing with AEW? Well, according to Sean Ross Sapp of Fightful Select, sources that he spoke to saying that they're pushing the idea of signing them and other big names. Now, personally, I wouldn't be surprised if they did, but many of you may know this. MJF seems like let's get them on board. Like he can see their true value of that, and I think that's one of the things that we all can agree. So we'll see what happens from there. Now, uh, Shinobu Kandori, many of you know her. She is a um, well-respected Yoshi wrestler and run LL PWX, which is a Yoshi promotion. Sent out an emergency l- uh, love call to Utami Hayashishita. Now, as you all know, Utami Hayashishita will be leaving Mighty Gold soon, and of course, saying that judo's your roots, isn't it? I feel such a strong connection. So it's like she's telling her, "Hey, come to my place. Maybe we can do something there." So basically, she wants her to join, and I think it would be a good thing. Maybe with Utami joining, it could help them be more recognizable of their promotion. Now, the next development, this will be our last, is Sherilyn Guerrero. Many of you may know her. She is the daughter of the late Eddie Guerrero, the second daughter, of course, with him and Vicky Guerrero. Now, as you all know, Sherilyn is no longer in speaking terms with her mother due to her calling out her stepfather, who was abusive and all that. But that's not what I'm here to talk about. Now, as you all know, Eddie Guerrero was very, very close with Chris Benoit and all that. Uh, Sherilyn actually gave in kind of spoke about Chris Benoit. Now, I know some people would say things about why she needs to speak with this guy for what he did. I mean, look, I read it, and I think it's a very interesting thing. This is what she said. It's a tragic thing that happened. I remember I was in Corpus Christi with my mom. We were at the arena. Everyone was waiting for him to show up. It was hard. My interaction with Chris were great. My dad really made sure that wrestlers felt safe around them and they could relax. And I feel like that's what tore Benoit apart, was not having a safe space anymore. Obviously, it is true. For how long they known each other even before I was born. Chris and Nancy, they were family. So I'll always talk about Chris because I have my personal experience like nobody does on this earth, and the right to talk about their experience. I get I get with the business, it's hard. It's not something they highly highlight because of what he did and where all that came from. The bit that business was wild back then. It was wild business. Likely they reeled it in a bit. Chris Benoit was an uncle to me, truly. I never had any bad experience. He was joy to be around, run around with his kids. Daniel, little Daniel, he was an angel. Nancy was my mom's best friend, and she come over her own just to hang out at the house. They did love each other, uh, from what I saw. Chris loved us so much, we loved him truly. That's how hard it was. The shocking because we just had these interactions, and truly, I don't think a lot of people saw or knew about it or could even understand. A lot of people like on my dad, they speak on how what they feel they know. Oh, your dad died on steroids. Steroids. No, my dad died from heart failure because he got sober, and all the heavy drugs that he did catches up. Chris went through a lot after my dad passed away, and I just feel like it just shows the safe space that my dad was for a lot of people to where really respected him. Eddie really showed us God, and he showed us love. I never had any issues talking about Chris because I think that the media and people always amplify what they feel they know, and I can share that he loved me, and I really did, and I had nothing but good interactions. Then then I'm gonna do that. Just because it was a tragedy and it was sad, it breaks my heart. But I had nothing but love. Yes, I get it. People can say what they want about Chris, but when it comes to her, her and her dad were very close. Basically, what people don't understand is that yes, Chris did all this thing to his wife and his son, but when it comes to the interaction with their families, that's a different story. I mean, you got to remember, Chris Benoit lost someone who would have kept him in check, Eddie. And when that is gone, it could lead to mental problems, you know. And that's exactly what it was. And Sherilyn never faulted on anybody. She understands what people can say about Chris, but they need to understand Chris was never a bad person around her. And I can say it's truly amazing to hear that she is still talks about him regardless of what he did. But yeah. So that's pretty much it. So let's call it a day. Well, I hope everybody enjoys this episode. Coming up, well, we probably know we have AEW Dynamite. Can't wait to see how things are going to go. And of course, we probably have WWE Evolve, seeing how things were going to roll out with both our champions, with people coming after them left and right. And if there's any other reviews, I'll let you guys know. But as of right now, I will say this, that I'll see you guys in the next DWZ time. Same DWZ channel. I must bid all of you adieu. So, goodbye. And have a nice day.